welcome back. Remember first week, Moses part 1, we learned about Moses was a baby in the basket. And then the second week, Moses part 2, we learned about the burning bush. Well, I've got another part of Moses' story for you today. So let's get comfy in those seats and let's do Moses part 3. Okay, so this one's called the Plagues of Egypt. Moses and Aaron had been given a task by God. They journeyed to Egypt to see Pharaoh and give him God's message. God doesn't want the Israelites to be slaves, they told him. You must let my people go. But Pharaoh wouldn't let them go. He was so angry that he made them work even harder. So God told Moses to go back to Pharaoh and ask him again. Aaron threw down his rod before the king and it became a hissing snake. My magicians can do just as well, said the king, and he wouldn't listen to Moses. God made the river Nile turn from the water into blood. The fish all died and nobody could drink, but Pharaoh still wouldn't let the Israelites go. Then God sent a plague of frogs. Everywhere you looked, there were thousands of frogs. There was frogs on people's beds, in their ovens, and in their food. Get rid of those frogs, and I'll let the Israelites go, promised Pharaoh. Moses asked God to remove the frogs, but Pharaoh broke his promise and still wouldn't let the people go. So God sent millions of gnats upon the land. Soon every man and beast was covered in nasty, biting insects. I'm still not letting them go, said Pharaoh stubbornly. God sent another plague. Swarms of flies covered everything. They crawled all over the people's faces and covered their food like a blanket. Ugh. Only the Israelites had no flies near them. It was so bad that Pharaoh again agreed to let the people go if God removed the flies. But when all the flies were gone, Pharaoh broke his promise again. This time, God sent a plague that killed all the Egyptian cattle and other animals. Still, Pharaoh was stubborn. I'm not letting a single one go, he said. God told Moses to take lots of ashes and throw them up into the air. Whenever the ashes landed, a nasty painful sore came on the Egyptians and their animals. Even the magicians had sores all over them. But Pharaoh wouldn't change his mind. Then the heaviest hail the Egyptians had ever seen fell upon them. It was so bad that every man and animal outside was killed and every tree and plant flattened. The flax and the barley are ruined, said Pharaoh. Tell your God to stop the hail before the wheat comes up, and I'll let your people go. Moses asked God to stop the hail, but Pharaoh still refused to release the slaves. So God sent so many locusts that the skies are black with them. These enormous, hungry insects ate up every plant and fruit still in Egypt, so there's nothing left to eat. Ask your God to forgive me and take the locusts away, and I'll do what you want, promised Pharaoh. But yet again he broke his promise. God sent darkness on the land, so it was pitch black for 3 days and nights, and nobody could leave their homes. Get away from me with your plague, said Pharaoh to Moses. I never want to see your people again. So in that story, we find that Pharaoh won't let the Israelites go, even though Moses asked him nicely. And then God had to send different things to try and make Pharaoh change his mind and let the Israelites go. And eventually, he did. But he had to go through so much before he would actually do what God said. And sometimes that happens to us too. We don't do what God says, and things get worse for us when it could have been so much easier to just do what he said in the first place. And I'm sure it would have been easier for Pharaoh too, and his land. Anyway, let's go and do our craft. Okay, so for this week's craft, we're going to take a toilet roll tube and we're going to turn it into a frog. So for that we'll need some, I'm using double-sided sticky tape, but you could use sellotape. You need some scissors, you might need an adult to help you cut, and some green paper. So we're going to take our green paper and we're going to measure to the top of the toilet roll tube, and we'll cut along. Stick the toilet roll tube down with some double-sided stick tape. One. And then we can cut off our excess. Then we're going to cut out some dome shapes. Like these. And we'll get our sticky tape again. And this is going to be our frog's eyes. We're going to cut some strips down. These are going to be his arms. One arm here, one arm here, and I've pointed the bottoms, and that's his wee toes, so they can go there like that. And then next I'm going to take this card and I'm going to draw some legs. There we have our frog, and all we need now to do is add on the details. And there we have our frog. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, and enjoyed learning about Moses Part 3. Join us again next week for Moses Part 4, and I'll see you all then. So have a good week. Bye everyone.